My sister's actually the first person, at least that we know from our high school, that's come to Georgia Tech. And then I was the second. Both my parents went to University of Georgia, the bad school. I wanted something different. I was mostly drawn to the city of Atlanta. I'm obviously an in-state student. I'm from Ranger, Georgia, which is in northwest Georgia. So coming to the city of Atlanta where there's all these lights and action and people and all of this stuff was ultimately what drew me to Georgia Tech. I like to say that most people at Georgia Tech, if not all, divide their experience here in some form of before and after. And for pretty much all of us, that is March of 2020. For me, it is slightly different, and the reason is I was racing the Georgia Tech cycling home race, actually in Calhoun, Georgia, which is really close to home for me. So this is about 6 days, maybe 7 before Georgia Tech sends all students home. 33 minutes in, am involved in a collision with another cyclist. I go over the bars, I strike my head on a curb, and that's my last memory for about, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, maybe 10 days. There was obviously a lot of head trauma, a hemorrhage or two in my brain. It's sort of a deep comatose state for quite a while, and as I sort of fade into memory 8 or 9 days later, I notice on the TV that the stock market's down 25% or whatever it is. Of course, I'm an econ major, so I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And my dad's sitting right there, and I'm like, what has happened, right? And the world, not only my world, but everyone's world has just completely blown apart. For me, that meant about 3.5 weeks in an inpatient rehab facility, just waking up every morning and focusing on, re-remembering numbers and re-remembering experiences. And I'm obviously very, very much discouraged when it comes to Georgia Tech and sort of what my life was here, because I feel ripped away from that in pretty much every way you could imagine. I felt like I barely passed calculus as it was before brain injury. Now it's like, oh my gosh, I can't even remember a sequence of 6 numbers. Like, there's no way I go back to this school and I'm able to survive. And right when I'm sort of discouraged by this, I get 2 things: a vase of gold flowers from the School of Economics and President Cabrera, and then I get a get well soon letter or whatever that's probably about this big, signed by all of my friends. And that was sort of my one touch point with what seemed like a past life. And I was extremely fortunate to make a pretty quick recovery, get discharged in April of 2020. Took the summer at home trying to, I guess, begin to recuperate and then ultimately plan my return to campus. I've taken a lot of hours, some semesters, and done some things that seemed like a sacrifice at the time, but ultimately are very worth it. Sat down for my first exam back, it's like, okay, am I gonna just blank, or am I gonna freak out, or whatever, because focusing was definitely more difficult. So I learned that your experience here is not linear. It never will be. There's going to be ups and downs, and sort of taking that in stride was really, really important. What it also taught me is, I guess, the things I missed, right? I missed Georgia Tech. I missed my friends. I missed my life here in a way that I definitely took for granted before, and I think a lot of us are guilty. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't pass on opportunities. I wanted to be involved everywhere I could. I wanted to go to everything, speak to everyone, and all those things. And I think that energy still is a little bit with me today, and has definitely yielded some of the best experiences I've had in my time here.